Okay, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how you can use the R100 Mark II image capture function to recall saved reticle positions for different rifles, and also how you can use it as a one-shot zero to make sighting in much easier. Okay, so the first thing I did is unlock the reticle. Next, we're going to go to some images that I've saved, and these images represent 3 different scenarios. So, image number 1 here is for the rifle number 1, and this image represents on the rifle number 1, Mark II on top of it, sighted in. An image is captured when you're pointing at the correct point of aim, which is that white hot spot right there, and the bullet is impacting at the correct point of impact. That's image number 1 for rifle number 1. Image number 2 is the second rifle with the Mark II sighted in. Image is captured with the reticle pointing at the correct point of aim, and the bullet is impacting the correct point of impact. Image number 3 is an image we'll use to demonstrate the one-shot zero. We'll come back to that in a minute. So, rifle number 1. So, let's say you just get the Mark II back. Someone has changed your windage and elevation points, or you had it on a different gun or whatever. So you want to put it back on rifle number 1, and you don't want to have to go to the range and sight in every single time. So what you do is you recall this image that you took and stored and saved on the Mark II, and then you go in and you can adjust your reticle to correct position, because you know that whenever this image was taken, the reticle was in the correct position for rifle number 1. So now you should be, that's a good 50-yard zero. This isn't a long-range zero. If you're going to be shooting past 100 or say 150 yards, you probably want to sight in or count clicks. Okay, so now you know that rifle number 1 is sighted in. Okay, you take it off rifle number 1 and you want to go to rifle number 2. So what you would do is go recall that image. So we know that this image right here is for rifle number 2. So then you go and adjust take it off rifle number 1, put it on rifle number 2, and adjust your windage and elevation to correct coordinate. Because we know that when it was on rifle number 2 and it was sighted in, when you were pointing at that hot spot, and we're hitting that hot spot. So now that we know we're back on target for rifle number 2. And you'll notice whenever you go recall image for rifle number 1, it's off. And that's because if it's sighted in for rifle number 2, it's not going to be pointing at the correct point of aim for rifle number 1. So that's how you can tell there's a difference between those 2 coordinates, and that you can use this for multiple rifles. Okay. Now, let's say you are sighting in. This is a pretty cool feature when you're sighting in. Okay, so this image, let's say this image is taken when we're at the range sighting in. The lower white hot spot is the bullseye, is where we're aiming, but the higher to the right white hot spot is where the bullet is impacting. So it would actually look like this to start with, because there we go. So you're at the range, you're shooting, your reticle is pointing at this point of aim, but your bullet is impacting that higher right point of impact. So what you do is, with your gun on the rest, or however you want to keep it steady, snap it, or capture an image with the reticle pointing at the correct point of aim, or with the wrong point of impact, and then mark those two. These are two adhesive hand warmers. So basically, you'd shoot at the bullseye, and then wherever your bullet hits, you need to mark that. A lot of times you can see it. If you can take the capture the image quick enough, you can see where the bullet impacted just because of the heat. But just for demonstration, these are two different hot spots, adhesive foot warmers. The hot spot it's pointing at right now is to indicate the bullseye. Hot spot to the high right is to indicate the point of impact. Okay, so you'd snap the picture. Now what you'd do is you'd go in and you'd adjust your windage and elevation to from the correct point of aim to the correct point of impact. So now you know that when you were pointing at this image, you see where your bullet was hitting. Now you know that when you shoot again, you're shooting where your bullet is impacting. But that's basically it. You can use the image capture to do a one-shot zero. You can use it to recall different rifle reticle points, and you can do as many as you want, because if you look at the image capture function, there's a lot of images. You can save a lot of images on here, so you could sight in a lot of different rifles. Definitely enough for a few for night hunting. Anyways, that's it, and if you have questions, just post them in the comment section below.